Hello there, Rogues. This is Devin here with the Rogue Deck Chronicle podcast. And this week, I am here with another Rogue Deck of the Week showcase and deck profile. This week, we are going to focus on Vaporeon EX. So Vaporeon EX is a Stage 1 Water-type Tera Pokemon that evolves from Eevee or Eevee EX. And Vaporeon has two different attacks. The first one is for a Water Colorless, Severe Squall. This attack does 60 damage to each of your opponent's EX Pokemon. This attack damage isn't affected by weakness nor resistance. And then we have the second attack, Aquamarine. For a Fire, Water, and Lightning, it does 280, but during your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. So as you see, we have two very different style of attacks on this card. So the Severe Squall can set up numbers and can set up future damage. Especially if we're not able to get all three energy onto the Vaporeon when we need to do the 280. And then with the Aquamarine, as you see, there is a text, so we can't attack at all. So with this, we are going to be relying on either being KO'd, which is not plan A by any means, or we're just going to have a whole bunch of switch cards, so that way we can stream multiple Vaporeons and multiple other attackers throughout the match. So we are going to use the Eevee EX as the Eevee of choice for our Vaporeon. The reason is that the 200 damage attack, the Corsating Quartz attack, is the same attack cost. So even if we don't get a Vaporeon in our hand right away, we can still attack for 200 of Eevee and then evolve next turn. Along with the Vaporeon, we are actually going to have a Palkia V and VSTAR partner with this. So, Palkia, Origin Form Palkia V does have two attacks. It's 220 HP Water Pokemon that has Rule the Region, which allows you to search your deck for a Stadium and then shuffle your deck. And then Hydro Break 200, and this Pokemon can attack next turn. But really, we want the Palkia V-Star. Palkia V-Star has two different pieces to the card. The first is going to be the V-Star Power, the ability Star Portal, which is our once per game V-Star ability, which allows us to search our discard pile for 3 water energy and attach them to our water Pokemon any way we like. So normally in the past, if you've seen this, you're powering up a Palkia V-Star with energy and then putting it maybe onto a Greninja. For us, because we don't need a lot of water energy for our Vaporeon, we can actually set up 2 different Pokemon with this and be able to get multiple attackers in line through this V-Star ability. Now, the attack is Subspace Swell, 60 damage. It is 2 water energy, and it's 60 plus 20 for each more bench Pokemon in play, both ours and our opponents. So this can do a lot of damage, especially with Area 0 Underdeaths being in play, and we have a Tera in Vaporeon and in Eevee, so we can take advantage of the bigger bench ourselves. And then finally, our little Pokemon here, we do run the Radiant Greninja. The Moonlight Shuriken is an attack we can do 90 to 2 of our bench or 2 of our opponent's Pokemon, but really we're using it for the Concealed Cards ability. Discard energy and draw 2 is a great little synergy with the Origin Form Palkia, and then also we have a whole bunch of other ways to get that energy back from the discard pile. And finally, for the Pokemon, we are running 1 Fezandipiti EX. Flip the script, it's just too strong not to have onto the bench. Now, in terms of items, we are running 4 Ultra Ball, 3 Nest Ball, 2 Tera Orb in terms of our Pokemon search. We are running, in terms of our supporter counts, we're running 3 Crispin. We really want to try to get our Vaporeon EX set up as efficiently as possible. We are running 2 Kieran. Kieran is a supporter card that has a choice option to it. We can either switch our active with our bench, or we can do 30 more damage to our opponent's active EX or V Pokemon. So that gives us a little bit of flexibility. We are running 3 Iono, 3 Research, 1 Boss, and then my favorite card in here is Surfer. So it allows us to switch our Pokemon and then draw up to 5 in our hand. So it allows us to refresh our hand and do a switch after our Vaporeon attack. In terms of other utility cards, in terms of our items and such, We do run 2 Earthen Vessel. We do have a very awkward attack cost with Vaporeon, so we want to make sure we get the right energy in our hand when we need it. And then we run 2 Night Stretcher and 1 Super Rod for our energy and Pokemon recycling. We have 2 Hard Switch. We have 1 Rescue Board, which allows us to pivot some of our Pokemon. We do have a couple Pokemon with 1 retreat cost. And if we don't get knocked out, it turns into a free retreater. And we do have 2 Rigid Bands. So Vaporeon EX is a stage 1. So if we have this onto our Vaporeon will take 30 less damage, which hopefully will give it the HP difference it needs to survive a hit or 2. And then the stadium of choice is Gravity Mountain. As we do not run any stage 2 Pokemons ourselves, this is a stadium that will only hurt our opponent, especially if he does run a stage 2 deck like Gardevoir or Charizard to reduce the HP that they have. And then finally, the energy count is going to be 6 water, 3 electric, 3 fire for the deck. So, as always, this deck list will be in the description and show notes. So if you want to look at it and kind of see where we went, definitely let us know what adjustments you would make. But there is the deck list. Let's do a couple matches to see how we go. Alrighty, so we are going first. We are having an Eevee, which is great. Looks like a Vaporeon. So, alright. Grab cards here. And we're going to end your turn. We have a Vaporeon in hand. We have a Crispin in hand. So we'll be able to set up the Vaporeon attack next turn very easily here. Alrighty. So we're going to be able to do 280. We'll see what our opponent does with its turn. So what we'll want to do is we'll put the Gravity Mountain out just so we have the stadium out to disrupt our opponent. It doesn't look like our opponent's going to be using stage 2s, but it's better to have it out there than not. And then just attach and pass effectively. So let's get everything ready for future turns. So we'll Tera Orb another Eevee for play. We'll evolve for turn here. We're going to Crispin, grabbing a water and an electric. It doesn't really matter which one we do, because we're just going to be attaching both to the active here. And now, we're going to attack with the Aquamarine. We're going to put pressure on our opponent right now. Take a prize. We got the Surfer, so we have a switch card in hand. So we are set up right now. So now we just need to work on setting up the second Eevee, which we can with a Crispin, if we really want to. Take the turn off, but ideally we'll switch with the Surfer and then get another switch card so we can do, again, another Aquamarine. And while all that's happening, we can set up the Eevee EX here, and then we can use the Eevee EX next turn. Oof. Looks like our opponent is struggling a little bit. Nest Ball. So let's get the Greninja out into play. Alright, so we're gonna attach. And then we're gonna do Surfer. We'll put the Eevee up front. We're gonna put the Rigid Band. I don't really know who to put the Rigid Band on. We have a lot of options here. So we have an Ultra Ball, which can turn into a Vaporeon next turn. So with that being the case, we're gonna actually just pass the turn. I don't want to burn the retreat cost for this Eevee just so we can do more damage. I'd rather keep this because we do have the Crispin in play, so we can attack next turn. Alrighty. Talonfire, okay. I think this is a theme deck. I do feel bad for our opponent. Because we're really just going to go and do the 200 this turn with Eevee. So we need to grab a Fire and Electric. It doesn't really matter which order we do. We're putting them both onto Eevees anyway. We're going to conceal cards. Let's fire away. Alright, well, we might as well put the Fezandipiti down. Why not? We're going to Ultra Ball the Iono and the Water Energy. And grab another Vaporeon, and that's going to be held for next turn. And we're going to do the 200 for this turn. So we could have evolved up to Vaporeon, but then we would have had to deal with the text of Aquamarine. Yes, we have a Kieran in hand. Yes, we do have a Switch. But the way the board is, there was no real need to be aggressive on the Aquamarine. We could have done we did the Eevee attack, and then now we're good to go. So we're pretty much all set up just to kind of stream attacks for another little bit here. So we are just going to just Aquamarine this turn. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of damage because of weakness. But we were able to set up turn 2 very easily with this deck. It's amazing with how streamlined this can be, where we're able to get multiple Vaporeon set up. We're able to get the second attack up and running turn 2. And then there's the Flareon that we've been waiting to see. And now it is our turn. Ultra Ball here. So we're going to Night Stretcher one of the energies back into our hand, so we can conceal card that energy and turn that into 2 more cards. So we have a hard switch here, so we're going to switch into the other Vaporeon. And we are going to Aquamarine this Flareon for the KO for the win, showing off how strong this Vaporeon EX can be. And there's our first win with the deck. Definitely against a non-meta deck, which happens when you're playing the ladder. But as you see, the setting up the Aquamarine turn 2 is very easy for us to do. We were able to get our pieces together. And then let's see what another match looks like. Alrighty, so we are going second, and we have a Palkia. Against a Fan Rotom deck. Alrighty. So it means our opponent is going to be setting up probably Noctowl, if I'm going to take a guess. Or it could be setting up Pidgey. We'll see. This Buddy will tell us a lot here. So we can do Gravity Mountain if we see a stage 2 setup deck. We can put 1 energy into play. It's a Froakie, so we're going to see Frogadier some form. But our opponent's setting up a bench, so this is where Origin Form Palkia's Subspace Swell is going to do a lot of really good damage for us once we get set up. And we have the Earthen Vessel to get us more energy, so we can set a lot of things up within the next turn or 2. But our opponent is going to get a full bench. So I'm very excited to see what we can do with all this. It's a Lugia deck of some form. Okay. But again, Palkia is going to do a lot of work here. We're going to put this Gravity Mountain into play right now. We are actually going to put Water Energy into the discard here. I'm going to put the Surfer. I don't think we really need the Surfer for this fight. We're going to put the Radiant Greninja into play. We're going to conceal cards. So now we have the Water Energy into the discard. All that Water Energy in the discard pile for next turn. And I'm going to end turn. I want to keep the Origin Form Palkia in hand. Iono would have given us more cards, but I really didn't feel like going in and trying to dig a little bit was the play. Got rid of Fezandipiti, got rid of the Greninja EX into the discard. That Gravity Mountain will matter with those Froakie evolutions, so I'm glad that we were able to keep that for now. So, our opponent is making us trying to hunt that Lugia down. But we do take some damage, which is fine. Here's where I feel like this can definitely be our advantage here. So now we're going to Iono because we need more cards, and I want to see what we can get out of it. We get another Origin Form Palkia. We do get an Ultra Ball. So I'm going to put the Fezandipiti into play. So we're going to conceal cards first. We can play around with this Lightning Energy just a tad. Okay, perfect. And I say perfect, we got an Eevee. There's no energy into play right now for the Eevee. We're going to put another Origin Form down. Again, we're filling our bench up. We want to do as much of our damage as possible. So I really wish we had... Oh, wow. That should not have done that, but okay. I really wish we would have had... Because I would have loved to put that water on one of those two other ones, but that's fine. So, we're just going to Subspace Swell for 220 right now. We're just going to take the KO onto that Fan Rotom. We have an Earthen Vessel, we have a Crispin, so we can set up a Vaporeon in a couple turns here. Our opponent's going to have to do 210 to us with no energy on board and no acceleration on board. So we'll see what happens here. Okay. Oh, our opponent just is going to allow us to just do a whole bunch of damage? I'm confused on this a little bit. But I think what he's going to try to do is... There's at least one Archeops into this card pile. I think he's going to try to double Primal Turbo. Which does put us behind. Again, that Subspace Swell, putting the 3 energy... One of them being on the Eevee would have been fantastic. But we couldn't because Eevee wasn't a water type. I don't know, but it is what it is. That is not... Okay. So will we see a double Archeops coming into play right now? That's the question. I think it's only the one. So... But I think the Primal Turbo is going to do enough. I think we're going to see a very dead VSTAR. No, our VSTAR survived. Hold up. Our Palkia has been given a second life here. Okay, so let's start getting this Eevee set up here. Okay. So we want to set up an Eevee for future needs here. We are doing 280 to the Lugia right now, which is exactly what we need to do, so there's no real need to really push this Lugia too hard. But what we're going to do is we're going to Earthen Vessel away the Ultra Ball. So we can just have the energy, fire energy in hand for later. I want to double check. I haven't used any of my Night Stretchers, so we can conceal card away this water energy. So we can get some more resources. Fantastic. We're going to Nest Ball. Another Eevee into play. Again, I want to be able to stream our attackers. So the Rigid Band will go onto this Eevee because it's the only thing that can really work for it. And now we're going to Subspace 12 for 300. We have a bench set up. Our bench also is now able to get away from the Stadium Bump. So we're going to enjoy that a little bit. We have the Tera Orb to get another Vaporeon into play. We have the energy. We have a Kieran. So we are in a very good spot generally right now. The only thing that really would make our hand and situation better would be if we can get our boss. And we can get a boss to get the biggest threat on the board. So we'll see what our opponent does. Rare Candy Ultra Ball, so we're going to see a Greninja. That's what that's telegraphing to me. Alright. So Greninja has how much HP? 310. We're going to knock that down to 30. So that gets us to KO, so we do need to get a Stadium. But if he's going to get us a knockout, we're going to have to flip the script. We're going to have a couple other pieces here. So let's see what we get here. Boomerang energy, okay. I'm not too worried about that as much. Shinobi Blade, so that gets to KO. They get a card from their hand and 2 from the prizes. So we are in a situation where we can get a knockout on this, but we'll need to bump the Stadium, which is fine. To be honest, we're in a very good spot with this Vaporeon. Let's see what we get here. We get an Iono, so we're going to... Actually, we don't even need the Stadium. Actually, we have the Kieran. So let's flip the script. We got a boss for future-proofing kind of stuff. So I want to do 30 more damage this time. And we're going to do 310 to this Greninja with Aquaman. That Legacy energy goes bye-bye. I'm only going to be able to take 1 prize. That's fine. Because that Wellspring Ogre Pond is going to be very tasty, hopefully, for us to get a finishing blow here. But we'll see what happens. Let's see what our opponent's trying to do here. The one bad thing is we're not really set up for a future attack. We're Iono down to 2, which is not horrible because we didn't really have cards we wanted. We have a hard switch, we have a professor. So let's see what our opponent tries to dig us into, but concedes. So we had the hard switch, we had the professor's research, so we were able to get a hand where we were able to do what we needed to do. Again, showing the power of Origin Form Palkia VSTAR in the beginning of the match, the power of Vaporeon toward the end of the match. So, 2 really good matches for Vaporeon, kind of showing off the different strategies we have with it. And really, really good. So let's go to the main screen real quick. So, you know what? Let's go see what we collect here. Let's go see what we collect here. We got a nice little alt art Reggie Draco V, Oak Research, a Lacey, a nice little Badoo, Houndoom, and a Jolteon. So not too bad there. But let's go look at the deck. So Vaporeon EX, very fun deck. It's definitely not as strong as some of the other evolutions in the format, but as you see, the Aquamarine can get set up very quickly, can put a lot of pressure on our opponent, and because we have found a partner in Origin Form Palkia VSTAR, which can put water energy onto play to water Pokemon, we can play around using the Crispins and different attack costs to utilize Vaporeon to the best of our ability. Unfortunately, the Severe Squall isn't as good as we want it to be because of the Tera rule, but building everything around that Aquamarine ability definitely was something they were able to do today. Again, this deck list will be in the description of the video. I know these are 2 quick matches showing off how quick this deck can be. I hope everyone enjoyed. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and then comment which one of your evolutions is your favorite evolution. We've been doing an evolution series from Prismatic Evolutions leading up to Journey Together. When that set drops, we're going to be doing more decks for that set as well. But again, I hope everyone enjoys their day and enjoys playing those sneaky decks.